like we've been recording like
Bruh.
like every other day.
Yes. Lord.
So we are back to our normal schedule
Yes,
of
we are.
every other week.
I had a couple people DM me
Yeah, I
asking
saw.
me if we were going every week with recording. No, ma'am, no, sir.
No,
That's not our ministry right now in life.
That is not what is happening.
It would be
Don't you
awesome,
believe it.
but we still have full-time jobs.
Yeah, so we can't be doing that.
So
But
we won't be doing that. But we did give y'all some treats over
Yes.
the last month or
Yes,
so
we
of
did.
posting every week. But that is not what we're doing.
yeah, and just real quick, so if you didn't have a chance to go listen to the podcast that we recorded live from the expo, go and listen. I know in the little write-up we did, the little blurb we do, I didn't name everybody that we talked to.
Right.
I just kind of hit the highlights, but there was a lot of people that we talked to that are very interesting. So, go back and take a listen.
16 people, I think,
Yeah,
is
it
what
was
we
total of
did.
16
So it's
people,
total
I
of
think.
16 interviews wrapped up into one extended interview.
Exactly.
I'll say extended. I won't say long. Extended interviews. So we did clips of people.
Yeah,
It was not full interviews, but some of those people we will be bringing on for a full interview because they're very interesting.
Exactly.
So
Like we had the guys from Runner's Edge. I don't think I talked about them. We had Ronald Joseph was on there, so he's always interesting to talk to. So yeah, go back and take a listen. It's definitely very interesting. It's not just about the race. It was just interviews in general. Just
what people are doing with their life and the things that they're doing in the running community. That I think a lot of the people that we highlighted are doing amazing things in the running community that has not been talked about.
Yeah.
So of course, like Run the Soul with Kimberly, and like you said, the Running Edge, the Selma to Montgomery directors for that relay race. There's so many people, so you all will be hearing from them. For some of them in a full episode, but go check out the small clip that we had for them.
So it was really good. I think we tried to stick it to like 5 minutes per person, kind of.
Yeah.
We went a little long with Ted Corbett's, with Gary Corbett's his son, Ted Corbett's son, Gary. We went a little long with him because he had a lot to say. So.
He's a legacy.
Yeah.
He get a little extra time.
Yeah, we give him some extra time.
Yes,
but anyway,
sure.
we are back on our normal schedule.
Yes, we are.
Now we're gonna start off with
talking
about the race.
The
race that India took upon herself to do.
Yes, I did.
After training, we all followed her through the training. So India, I'm gonna just leave the floor to you. You tell me. I got to see you in 2 different spots. What happened the rest of the time where I didn't actually get to see you?
So I think that so I will say this. Let me put this disclaimer out there. If we would have done this interview last week, my response probably would have been a little different. I've had a week to process.
You had a little time?
I've had a little time to be down on myself, etc. And for those that follow me on social media, I did a long post about it today, but I will go into a little bit more detail today here on the podcast, just because I feel like it is important. And this
accountability, you told people what you were gonna do, so you kind of talk about it.
So I feel like I need to. So obviously, everyone, it's not something that I talk about all the time, but I get a little anxiety. I get race anxiety, getting up to it. It took a lot for me, and I think you all know that, to say here on the podcast what my goal time was.
Yeah.
I know when I first announced that I had Coach O, I did not announce the goal time. And then I think after like maybe 2 or 3 episodes, I officially announced the goal time. The reason why I was hesitant to do that is because I feel like I get extra anxiety when people have or know a goal that I'm trying to reach.
Yeah.
It's that extra peer pressure. Now, for some people, that's positive peer pressure and it causes you to execute it.
Yeah.
But for people like me, it's a little extra. And, I start to internalize and overthink and all that goodness. So, of course, the day of the race, of course, we had the expo. I received a lot of great energy, positive vibes on that Friday. Saturday morning, I was fine. I woke up, had been a little anxious the week of, just kind of, and when I say anxious, guys, it's just me overthinking. Like, that's basically what it is. Me thinking about it. Am I ready? Am I going to execute it? I need to do this. But then, like, literally Friday after the expo, I was like, I'm doing this tomorrow. I went home to Braxton, and I was like, it's happening tomorrow. I'm feeling good. My mindset is a little different. I am ready to go to knock this out the park.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning, during my warm-up, because I did a little 10-minute warm-up, I ran down the street, came back, and anxiety started to rise. I was listening to gospel music as I was warming up, and I had a couple tears, and I'm like, whoo! I'm like, Lord, maybe I shouldn't have listened to gospel music. I probably should have put on the trap music because clearly, excuse me, I shouldn't say trap. Listen to hip hop music.
You listen to Mahalia Jackson. What you listen to?
I think it was like
you had Amazing Grace of Aretha Franklin.
We fall down, we get up. Like it was some shit I should have been listening to. Clearly.
Okay.
So listening to that, and I was fine. I got in my own zone. People were trying to talk to me in the morning, and I was like, you know what? I just need to be in my own space. So this is, I guess, the part that I've been really told all the time. But the week of the race, I wasn't sure what I was going to do in regards to pace groups.
Okay.
So pace groups were announced a week or so or 2 weeks before the actual race, and I was not sure. So in my mind, I knew that I was trying to get a sub 3. So I was like, do I stick with the 3-hour marathon crew, half marathon? Do I stick with the team and then take off at the end? Or do I stand or get in front of them and make sure they don't catch up to me?
Okay.
Okay. So one of the race pacers was GK. I knew him. So I was like, I'm cool with him. So of course I told him, I was like, don't let me slack off. You know what I'm saying? I said, if I get behind you, cussing me, yelling at me, get me in front of you. And then the other pacer, Crystal, I messaged her. I knew of her, but I had never met her in person. But I did introduce myself and let her know what my goal was. And she said, okay, we got this. We can do this. She explained that she usually does 1-1 intervals. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I can work with that. And she said, it'll be fine. So here comes takeoff. And we take off. And as soon as we got up the first little out the gate of the church and down that first hill, GK was playing, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, is he gonna play? I love you, GK. But I was like, GK, is he gonna play, and then I'm not gonna make my time? And then I look back, and Crystal was behind me. And I was like, I kind of panicked for a second. I was like, well, what do I do? Do I wait for them? What do I do? Like, I wasn't sure. And in my mind, of course, I was like, well, I know Crystal is going to be, like, dead on. GK, he like to have a good time, and, that's all well and good, but I was not sure. Okay. So I was like, Indy, your body is feeling good, go. So I just went without the pace groups, and so then I changed my strategy to don't let them catch you.
The pace group?
Yes. Because I was like, if the 3-hour marathon people, if they pass you, that means your goal is out the window. So when you saw me at mile 2, when you and Braxton saw me at mile 2, I was feeling good because I was ahead of them. And I knew I was ahead of them. So I was like, oh, I'm good. Yeah. I was right on pace. Matter of fact, I was ahead of my goal time to be able to PR. But we all know that in a half marathon, anything can happen. I was at mile 2.
Yeah.
So I was at mile 2. So, of course, I kept going. I was feeling good. And I hope everybody saw the big heads at mile 2 if you ran the half marathon. That was exciting for us to do. But anyway, so I kept going. I'm going to fast forward a little bit. Was feeling good, feeling great. And then literally I ended up starting to have to do more walking than I wanted to. I just started feeling like worried, and I started looking back. And so I looked back, and Crystal's pace group caught up to me. Okay. And so at that point, that's when the initial anxiety started to, not initial, but it started getting worse. So I was like, shit. I'm like, okay. So then I told her, I said, I'm trying to hang in with you. She was like, you need to work on your breathing. At that point, my breathing had went out the window. I was damn near hyperventilating.
Worried about?
Literally.
Yeah.
I know. What? And then for those that are listening, I'm probably like, what? Literally, I was hyperventilating. Like, I couldn't get my breathing under control. Like, I was breathing in through my nose, out through my mouth. It was almost as if I had asthma. Okay. And I had never had that happen before. So she was like, I need you to do this. Like, she was trying to talk me through calming down. She was like, yeah, I need you to take this hill down, but I need you to walk this, like she was really trying to talk me through it. I hung with them for a good mile or two, and then they were out of my sight at that point. Like, I couldn't hang in there anymore. And then good old GK caught up to me. And that was at about mile 8. GK caught up to me, and I just knew it was a wrap. Like, at that point, I was looking at my paces. I was like, my goal is a wrap. So GK was like, come on, you got this. And at that point, I had been crying. I had been, like, literally everything. At mile 6, the wheels fell off. So once GK caught up to me, I could not get my breathing under control. I was frustrated. I was upset at myself. I had a couple people asking me, was this my first half marathon? And I literally was like, I want to say F you. No, it's not. And of course they don't know me.
Yeah,
like I have to
yeah.
be careful when I race in Atlanta because I do know a lot of we know
Yeah.
a lot of runners in Atlanta. So
Yeah.
when there's people that come from out of town that don't know me, I'm like, girl, what? You don't no.
Get off me.
I'm a 2-time marathoner and this is my 14th half. This is not, it's just a bad day. So I was really frustrated about that. So at that point, my mind had gone out the window. I could not refocus. I kept trying to get myself back into focus, and my body would not execute. Like literally, I was trying to run, and my body was like, "Nope, you walking."
Well, and I think you are discounting the fact that we did an expo, like the whole day. Like, what time did we get there?
We got there at 9:00 a.m. on Friday.
On Friday until
7:30.
7:30 that night.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're discounting that. Now, I was sick.
Right.
So I wasn't feeling well anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I was and I mean, when I got home Friday night,
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to move.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine that you felt much better.
I told Braxton, I was like, I'm tired.
Cause
I
you
knew
had-
I was
at the-
tired.
No,
but
y'all, at the end of the expo, she was like, I don't want to talk to nobody.
I was tired of talking.
I don't want to talk
Like,
to nobody. I want to go to sleep.
But for people that also don't know this, I have my sociability like caps for the day and for the week, and like Friday was like a week's worth of being social.
I
Like
got
for
you.
me,
Yeah.
like I'm not antisocial by any
Mhm.
means, and I am an extrovert to a certain extent, but I have my maximums of being able to talk to people. Like I'll be like, okay, I just don't want to talk to people today.
Yeah.
But Friday was like us interviewing and being what I call being on. We were on
Yeah.
for over 8 hours.
Yeah.
Meaning socializing, people meeting us that we had never met before, listeners, saying hey to people. Like we had to be cordial and communicate and talk to people all day. And I think people underestimate the
How much
energy
it
that is
drains.
exerted
Yeah.
when you have to be social and be on
Yeah.
all day. You know,
Exactly.
me sitting in the corner just watching people, that's not exhausting. But when you have to say, hey, what's up?
Mhm.
People want to take pictures, all that. And I love it. I
Yeah.
love that atmosphere, but it is a lot. So you're right.
It was tired, and I think you're discounting that a lot. Because I've done an expo and then tried to run a race before. I did the Peachtree. I did an expo with Michael Martinez before the Peachtree one year. I was done in the race.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, and we were on, I mean, even though we had places to sit, we were on our feet a lot.
Yeah.
So
You
I think
were.
that had something to do with
Because
it, too.
we kept getting up and down to take
Yeah.
pictures.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all
So
of that.
I think that had a lot to do with it. So I'm,
Yeah.
you know, I don't
I
think you should.
appreciate it. Give me some credit.
Well, I'm just saying. I think because you kind of fluff it off like, oh well, no, that was a draining day for sure. Because I know I was beat to hell by the time I got home.
Yeah, I was tired. It was a lot. But I think for me, I was like, in my mind, it really was allowing one day of being tired to mess up 16 weeks of training. So like for me,
Yeah.
that was my thought process
Yeah.
behind it. And
Uh-huh.
I'm like, I trained for this. Like I didn't shit around on my training. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah.
trained for this. And of course for me, I internalized, you got a well-known coach to help you get
Yeah.
to this race day.
Yeah.
You flopped. You know what I mean? You've been doing all this. You've announced your time on social media now. People know, and you flopped. So in my mind, all of those things were going in my mind
Yeah.
while I was out in the course. And the other thing was, this was like literally everybody. This is my worst half marathon time. I honestly finished in 3:30 flat. I have never finished. Like that just wasn't what it was. And ironically, last year was 3 hours. I don't know how I'm hitting it right on these minutes, but it's just ironically. So of course, in my mind, I'm like, this is not good. So of course, I beat myself up all last week. But I'm good now. Like I'm good now. I was able to pull myself together and do a post today. And just because I have high expectations for myself, and what I did was not my regular performance. And I think also because when I did my first half marathon ever, it was untrained, and I did better than what I did last weekend. So in my mind, it's kind of like, how the hell did you do an untrained half marathon? And, you know, in this one, you've been training for 16 weeks. You've done all this. But life is different. Body is different. That was years ago. So I have to give myself credit for that. And at the end of the day, I finished. I did not DNF. I finished.
Yes.
I want to say shout out to a couple people. Pam from Detroit, she was a godsend. Her and GK kind of came up to me at the same time. I told GK, leave me alone. Just go. Because he was pacing. I was like, you got ladies that are counting on you to get you to a certain point. So go. Pam hung with me. She ain't never met me. She didn't know who I was. I explained what the Run Duo was. I explained that people knew me out here. She was like, really? I was like, yes. And she was with me when my phone started ringing. Malcolm called me at I want to say around mile 9. He called me. He's like, where are you? I didn't answer the phone, but I got the message on my watch. And then about mile 10, Patrick came and got me. So
okay,
Patrick
I was going to ask when because I saw him when he left the start line.
Yeah, so Patrick from Lace Up Fitness came and got me at mile 10, and he was with me to the finish. I literally, guys, I walked the last 3 miles. Like, I was trying to give a little jolt. I couldn't. There was points that I was touch and go. I got dizzy. I was feeling nauseous. So it was a shit show. Like, just being honest, like it was all bad. All bad in the respect of like what I expected to. Not all bad because I did finish, y'all. I got the marathon done, a half marathon done. I keep saying marathon. Please forgive me because I hate when people do that. I got the half marathon done. I finished on my 2 feet. I'm not injured. We did have somebody say, "Are you hurt?" I'm like, "Nope, not hurt. I didn't pull anything.
Okay,
I'm good." So I mean, I'm blessed to be able to do that. I took all of the last week off. Oh, I can't forget Nicole, who is the person that I've been training with twice a week.
Okay.
In the mornings. By mile 10, she caught up to me, and she was a godsend, but then I was also frustrated because she was the new lady Pam that didn't know me, and then Nicole, they were there together. And Nicole's like, let's go, India, you got this. We're about to start intervals again. And I'm like, I can't, Nicole. And Pam was like, oh, go at your own pace. And Nicole was like, no, I know what she got in her. I train with her 2 days a week.
God.
She got this. She lead me every Monday and Wednesday. She literally was she leads me every Monday and Wednesday. This is not what she does. She is a runner. This ain't new to her. Like, Nicole was not hearing it. And I was like, girl, I don't have it in me. Yeah. So I appreciate that. So there was a lot of love and support on the course. And of course, by that time, Pam was like, oh, they really do know you. I'm like, yeah. I was like, people about to start coming to get me. You can go ahead. But a lot of love and support. I greatly appreciate it. And for those that have messaged me since my post today on social media of me explaining that there has been a ball of emotions, embarrassment, because obviously I announced my time, frustrated with my time, just a ball of very relieved that it's over. Training is a lot. Very relieved that it's over. However, yes, I'll leave that for another episode. Anyway, so I look forward to what is coming up next. I'll just leave that. So I'm looking forward to what's coming up next. Training is not done. I will continue to be doing some training, and I have some races lined up. So I'm excited about that. So thank you for everybody that's been loving and supportive.
There you go. There you go.
That's it.
You did not. You finished.
I finished.
Galen Rupp.
I'm
finished.
good. You right.
Galen Rupp didn't finish. So
how many times has he DNF?
Did he DNF? No, he finished last year, didn't he?
I feel like he's had a couple DNFs, but you know, and somebody has messaged me that you know, elites pull out all the time when they can't execute, but I finished, and that's true. And I finished. I'm good. I'm healthy. I live another day to run, and I have to also think about the time that I finished was a time that somebody else may have been trying to finish, and so. You know, I appreciate that. So
exactly,
it is all good. Keep pushing people.
We are proud of you here at the
Thank
Run
you. Everybody has bad days, y'all. So it was just my bad day, and it just is what it is. But I think when you have so many good days and good races, and I won't say every day is bad, but I have not had a race day that was.
Well,
like
this
that,
just gonna make the comeback even better.
It's gonna be even better. So I'm excited.
Better. Now.
Yes.
While you were finishing the race on the other side of the world,
yes,
there was a young man who was still training at that point.
Yes, he was.
But what time did you? I was already. This is how old I am. What time did you text me?
I text you at 8:30.
I was
on Friday night.
On a Friday night
to tell him.
I was on that couch right there.
Really?
Knocked
I was like,
out.
text him, respond. I text him to say, hey, do you have your alarm set for in the morning? Because we need to be watching Kipchoge. Do you have your alarm set? The next day, Thomas responds to me midday and is like, oh, yeah, I saw a little bit of it. What?
I woke up after he'd already started.
Okay.
Because that's why I was down here.
Yeah.
Because I was going to turn it on.
Okay.
I woke up after he'd already started, and I ain't going to lie to you, I rolled over. Was like, okay, I'm just going to roll over for a second.
Okay.
And I fell asleep. And I woke up as he was finishing.
Okay.
So I did get to see him finish.
Good.
But amazing. I mean,
Face ID.
huh?
I'm sorry, face ID. I'm
She
listening.
got a new phone, y'all. So
I did, and I'm
playing
still.
with it.
No, I'm trying to pull my notes up. So as I'm up at 2:00 in the morning, literally on the side of the bed with the what is it? That
The iPad.
yes, the
Uh-huh.
iPad in front of me, my phone in the other hand, literally trying to text myself notes.
Did Braxton? Did he watch it?
No, he was knocked out. So he woke up at like 15 minutes before Kipchoge finished.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, babe, I was like, he about to do it. I think so. I think if he can just hold on. He was like, oh man, that's what's up. And then he starts snoring again. And I was like, damn. So then when it was close to the end, I went into the bathroom and closed the door. It's 2 doors to our bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, closed the door. And of course I'm yelling. If anybody saw my post, I'm like yelling. I'm like, yes, he did it. So in the morning, Braxton was like, so you feel like you had to go into the bathroom to scream? I was like, what you talking about? You want something to hear that? He was like, yeah. You talking about, yeah, you did it. And I was like, he heard me. Yes.
But yeah, it was definitely. I mean, you can talk about it more. Like I said, I didn't watch the whole thing.
Right.
I did check the formation. Their little win formation was a little different than
Yes.
the original one.
Yes.
Of course, he was wearing the high stack shoes.
Yes. So he's the Alpha Flies.
Yeah,
that
the
have
Alpha
not been
Flies.
released yet.
And he was rolling.
Right. So the
as he does.
Right. He was rolling. He was looking at ease. So it's funny because, so obviously let's talk about the weather first of all. So it was 90% humidity, which for most of us, when it's 90% humidity, we're like, we're not rocking with it. And then about midway, it started raining. But it was not a hard pour. I think it was just a drizzle, which for some of us runners, we're like, give me a drizzle. That feels good.
Drizzle,
So I don't think that was an issue. They did not expect the high humidity, and they did not expect the rain. So I think the commentators were like, oh, like, this isn't... They tried to pick the most ideal time and day to ensure that those things weren't happening. Yeah. The rain and all that wasn't happening. But of course, Mother Nature is going to do what it does.
Exactly.
And so that was interesting. And of course, they talked about each pacer as they continued to foil in and foil out. So there was groups of 9 of them. So it was groups of 9. And they did the reverse V for this time versus the breaking 2 with Nike. Yeah. So the V was the point. So it was so it was the point was the captain. So the person that was closest to Kipchoge was the captain, and then they went out from there. So it was very interesting to see them do that. And of course they had more, to me, what I saw, they had more lines, more laser beamed from the car this year to make sure that they stayed on point with the turns and the tangents and things of that nature. They also drew out on the ground a tangent line for the curve. So there was only like 2 curves within the course. Majority of it was straight. Yeah. And they had to make sure that he stayed within the dotted lines and within the curve, so that he didn't go over the 26.2 because it wouldn't have, it really wouldn't have counted. Yeah, right. Yeah, so exactly. it would not have counted. Yeah. So that was something that was, a big deal. So I know that he was doing the Martin drink was one thing, and then of course the Martin gels was something else that he was doing. And of course that's one of the things that disqualified this as not being quote unquote a world record. So the fact that his gels and his water and drinks was being handed to him by someone on the bike, because he had pacers that were foiling in and foiling out. Of course, a lot of the marathons have pacers, but they don't. The way that they did the interchange, come in, come out, that was something that also disqualified it as so. And of course, having the pace car and all that in front was something that disqualified it from being a record. And of course, it was not necessarily a sanctioned race, meaning it wasn't a Boston Marathon, it wasn't a Berlin, London, it wasn't one of those. So of course that disqualified him from that. But anyway, he took fluids every 6K instead of every 5K that he did last time. Okay. So his fluids were different, and basically he ran 13 miles per hour the whole time. He kept a 4-minute and 36-second average pace the entire time.
Well, okay, so after Bekele's Berlin, it took a little shine off this at first for me. It took a little shine. I was like, you know what? Okay. Instead of him doing this, I would have rather, after seeing what Bekele did, I would have rather seen him in Berlin. Because that's what he gave up to do this.
Yes.
But once he finished, and I saw everybody jumping and putting him on his shoulders, I was like, okay.
He did this for a reason. He looked very different this time than he did for Breaking 2.
Yeah.
And what I say look very, very different, he did not look as depleted this time as he did for Nike Breaking 2 years ago. And I just know because I watched both of them staring at the TV. But he looked better conditioned. He looked more relaxed. Of course, he had his, and the announcers explained, and I think this is right for him. When Kipchoge is hurting, he does his little smile.
Yeah.
He does a little grimace a little bit. But it's not like a grimace like for us, like we doing the grit face.
Yeah.
For him, it's literally like a little, like I'm hanging in there. But he did that for a moment when he was at mile, I want to say it was at mile 20. He pulled back from the Pacers a little bit.
Yeah.
And then he pulled back in. And so we said he had a little spot and he pulled it together because it was a little concerning at mile 20.
Yeah.
It was like between mile 20 and 21, but he pulled it together. But I think he needed this. He needed his time. And I think he wanted to do this to say, I can do this.
Yeah, and I mean, I know they no human has limits and that kind of stuff. Now that we've done what basically amounts to an experiment, we put all the conditions in place for you to do it, and you did it. Now, can it be done on a track, on an official IAAF sanctioned? Because that's what's next. And now that, and honestly, I still don't trust Bekele to run like he did in Berlin every single time, because he's DNF'd a couple of too many times for me.
Yes.
But now that he has someone,
can it be?
That he has someone that sounds like can run with him, will the two together be able to push the other one to this level in a sanctioned IAAF, like a world major? Like Chicago next year?
I think it's going to have to be a Chicago or a Berlin.
Well, definitely. I mean, I don't think on any other ones.
It's not going to be a New York.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. I'm not going to say it's not. It's not going to be on a hilly course.
No.
Meaning it's
well,
not going to be Boston.
It could be London.
It could be London. It's not going to be Boston. It's not going to be New York. Like, those are two hilly world majors. And we know that Kipchoge basically only runs, London and Berlin is his
he
main
said he
races,
wants to eventually
but I know
run
that
all
he
of
wants to
them.
run all of them.
Yeah.
I definitely think that it can happen. I think the Pacers had a big deal in the fact that he could do it, if that makes any sense. Because if you think about it,
the win, you think in the drafting, or you think just the fact that people can stay in front of him at the pace that he needs to be?
Exactly.
I don't.
The second part, the win and the drafting, yes, science, all right, woo. But I think at the end of the day, if you have people in front of you and you basically have to stay neck and neck with them to keep on pace. Because if you think about it, when you run a race, there's gonna be times that you're gonna have surges, right? But when